Well, everybody knows the Zimbabwean voice now, so that's for sure. And it's a beautiful voice, that one. One of unity, one of togetherness, one of peace, one of love, you know. That's the way forward. Oga, Oga.
Blessing, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. I thought it would be good to have this conversation, specifically because, as I was saying earlier to you, I think at the essence of who we really are, that's as people, I think stories really make up who we are as people, and how people perceive us across the world. And I was saying this to a friend earlier. When we grew up, we either had ZBC on TV or we had DSTV on television, and really there was no alternative vehicle or platform where we could see ourselves being represented on screen. And that makes it seems small, but it has a big effect to one's outlook, growing up. So I thought it would be great to have you on the show, because I feel like you and the team in Invision Studios are working really hard to help offset that imbalance and give us and represent us on screen. So thank you for joining me. How are you doing? How's everything going so far?
No, thank you, Dumi, for having me. It's a lovely honor to be here. It's such a great moment for young people to be having talks about their country. It's such a momentous time as well, where we are young and we can be able to do things. So, whatever we can be able to contribute to our nation, I think we need to be doing that. So I'm happy to be part of that in a very minute way, in a very minute way in this film and TV space. So yeah, thank you for having me.
Super. And just so everyone has a little bit of color around how you even got here, where were you born, and how did you even get? Not even how did that's such a big jump, but where were you born, and how did the journey here even look like? What inspired it? Just so we have a little bit of background there.
Man, Jimmy, that's a loaded question. Where was I born? I was born
right.
I was born in Harare. And I was born in Harare, and I grew up in Harare, largely. And I was, raised in a normal Zimbabwean family.
Right.
Mom, dad, aunts, my grandma. I have a strong presence of women that really contributed to why I'm here. It's one of the biggest achievements that I can call myself. Like I was raised by women. My grandma, mom, my aunt. They were like three. And it's weird because some of the stories I'm beginning to like develop or get into nowadays, they're really coming from that upbringing where I'm literally dealing with women issues and women's stories and stuff. But I never traced it back, to that period. How did I end up here? I mean, here I'm guessing you're talking about the film space, right? Film and TV, and how I got into that.
Before I even take it there. So where were you junior school? You're in Harare. Where were you junior school, high school? Yeah,
I went to Courtney Salou, man. Courtney Salou, in Greendale. So all my Courtney people, shout out to you.
You have to.
You know how it is. You always feel like your school is the best school in the world. Like, so all my Courtney people, man. That's what's up. And then after that, in Form 1 to Form 4, I went to Maris Nyanga. That was in Nyanga. So my dad had this thing of thinking that if you go to a mission school, you're gonna get good upbringing, good everything. So while all my friends went off to St. George's, Peterhouse, Prince Edward, and all these places. There I was going to Maris Nyanga. I mean, the academics there,
Academic
ridiculous.
school,
I mean,
right?
it's such a strong
Mhm.
academic. Yeah, like literally, you could have 5 A's and
No,
you'll be
I
like
know.
number 30.
No,
You
I
know what I
know.
mean? Like
No,
that.
they're for real. Yeah.
That's how ridiculous it is. So you think that you've done well, and then you look around, you're seeing, hey, yeah, things are tight. Things are tight. so yeah, I did that form 1 to 4, and then form 5 and 6, lower 6 and upper 6. I went to Hillcrest College. Yeah, I literally had to protest to go to a private school because I was tired, man. I was like, you know what, come on, guys, you know. So I went to a private school after, which was still in Manicaland. Very, very good school, man. It's a very amazing school. Again, all my Hillcrest people, say what's up. We know the motto, Simba marching. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So yeah, that was me. And then after that, my uni, I moved to London. I moved to London to do my undergrad.
And when you were, but before you moved, um, what did you want to be before you transitioned over across? Did you have this thing to say? Quite honestly, when you're a child, you almost have to. You get forced into making like these big life decisions. I mean, and some of us, some people know from 3, 4 years old, they're rolling. Some people are still figuring it out. Which boat were you in, and then how did that influence, your next jump to the UK?
My story evolved over time because when I was young, I used to love exploring. So I even told my mom, I was like, I want to be an explorer. And I didn't even know what that meant, but I just wanted to like explore things. I wanted to explore things. In a way, I kind of am doing that with film because film takes you into a space of exploration where you're exploring different characters, different cities, different worlds, and that sort of thing. But yeah, that was when I was a little bit younger. And I was in form 1, 2. My literature teacher, we used to write these compositions. And I remember I used to love those. Like that
Mm,
was one of the highlights of my high schooling. Just writing those little compositions, making up a story about the day I got
mm,
robbed or the day this happened. Um, and my and my teacher came to me and he was like,
mm,
kid, I think you really like this, and I think
mm-hmm.
maybe one day you're gonna be a writer. Very, very interesting.
Right,
I mean, when you think about it, because of the
right.
uh,
Mm.
Zim teachers, you know what I mean. Very, very interesting to see a
And
teacher in
affirming you.
Zim who's
Mm,
underpaid, most likely, who
mm,
is not,
mm,
yeah, and affirming you, speaking to your
mm.
vision, speaking into your life that way. That
Say
teacher
thank
probably doesn't even know. I'll
you. Yeah,
try to look
yeah,
for the guy.
yeah.
I can't find him, but yeah, yeah, he probably doesn't even know what
Right, right.
what he did. So, but fast forward when I went into A levels, I was sort of now being pushed into like
Mm,
law and stuff and things like that.
yeah.
I was now thinking, okay, maybe I could be a lawyer.
Mm.
But I was very good at football at the same time. So I was now thinking, maybe
Like
football could be a thing
Premier
as well.
League. Do you have
But I could
Premier
see
League
all.
dreams?
Dude, I had Premier League dreams, bro. I had Premier League dreams. I
Wow,
played Dynamos under 21s. So I was coached.
huge,
Yeah, I was coached
huge.
by Elvis
Blood.
Chueche, the late. We used to call him Blachuchu. At that time. Yeah, the guys that were seniors were like, but I didn't play for a long time because
Mm,
I only played like probably a few games,
mm-hmm,
and then moved on to the UK. So
mm-hmm,
by that time I was already now moving to the UK.
mm-hmm,
So that was a little period that I played, and then I moved to the UK. When I moved to the UK, I
mm.
thought, okay, let me try this football thing, bro. It ain't easy.
Yeah, I think also for everyone listening,
It's
having
not
having
easy. It's
spent
not
or
easy. It was
seen
tough.
spent a little bit of time in the UK, I think for them it's about systems. From the age of 8, 9, 10, you're in a system and you just get
Yeah,
groomed from the time you're 16, 17. So even though you're
yeah,
talented, I don't even sometimes you have to be forgiving to yourself, or not so hard because you're like, man, these guys have been training for 15 years at this thing. But yeah, you experienced that firsthand when you went there.
Yeah. And also just to reiterate, parents play a major role in that process. So, for example, if you're 9 years old, I've got my nephew who's 9 years, who's nine thereabouts. He plays for a team, and the parents they become so involved in that because they have to go pick him up, they have to go drop him off. If he's going to match in in a soul's like in a faraway place, they have to take him. And they have to sacrifice their time, probably take time off work, probably do this. It's a huge sacrifice. And he's only 9. So imagine by the time he gets to 15, 16, how many sacrifices have they, they would have sacrificed a lot. So parents play a major role into that. I remember watching Wayne Rooney, and he was talking about this, saying that, look, my parents, we used to take 3 buses just to get to training. Yeah.
Right.
Right. And that's how, because he comes from a poor place and whatnot. So parents, they play a major role in that process. And unfortunately, when I came here, my dad was like, what are you doing? Yeah, bora. There's nothing like that. So that's where I just snipped that dream. I played, uni football a little bit, but it was so tough because the football here in the UK is so.
It is. It's religion.
It's religion.
Not just an expression.
Like it's literally religion. Like
religion. Yeah.
It's religion. So yeah. So I came here and I just did my business business admin,
and then
that's what I did.
When you did that degree, where you're saying, okay, cool. I feel like a business admin degree is a nice degree to get a feel of a lot of different types of businesses. Did you feel like, okay, this is cool, but what? In fact, maybe not even put any assumptions on you. What did you then do from there, and how did that influence what your next step was thereafter?
So. What it did for me, I think, because it was a double major, right? So it was a double major, and what it was a double major with business admin and HR. So human resources, you get to learn about people, you get to learn organizational psychology, what makes other people tick more than others, and blah blah blah. Things that things that I really think that they're very crucial. I remember meeting one of the people I look up to, and we were on a train ride. Pastor Tom Michelle. We were on a train ride in London. He had come to the London church, and I was just supposedly told to escort him. Right. I was like, oh, okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So he asked me, he's like, what are you doing here? He asked me, what are you doing here? In the UK, and I told him, I was like, I'm doing this business degree, and it's a double major with HR. But I don't know if I'm going to use it. I don't know if it's going to help, because at that time I figured I have a genuine passion for film, right? So he then told me, he looked at me, he's like, the funny thing is, I tried to build a studio back in the day, a film studio, a film and TV studio back in the day, and I promise you, there's a lot that goes into it that you need. You need the skills that you're learning now, because those will be crucial for whatever, it's so crucial and so instrumental for you to have the business and the human resources management. Because if you fail to manage people, you can't make the film, you can't make the whole production does not go to plan. So he told me that, look, that's you're probably right. Instead of going to film school, you're probably the right person. You're in the right spot for what you're about to do. Then I asked him, I was like, do I need to then go to? He's like, no, you don't. You actually don't need to go to film school, because you can just pick up a camera and start shooting. You can just pick up a camera and just start shooting, or you can pick up your phone, and start making film. So, but the business side and the human resources side, that stuff is intangible, and it'll be hard lessons on you if you really just get into it without having that psychology. So again, he's one of the people that played a major role in my life. Shout out to
Huge, huge, huge. And I've worked at a few places where the I've seen, let's say, CEOs with extreme excellence on maybe on the business side, but then sometimes on the human resources side it lacks, and then actually, you don't actually make as much progress as you'd want to, because you need people to, of course, move the business forward, and the two need to coexist. So I think also I've heard this thinking a lot with people who have a passion for film, but they feel like, if I don't go to film school, who am I to actually call myself a filmmaker per se? So from your experience, you're like, look, I hear that, but you actually just, need to go for it, regardless of what that is.
Yeah, you need to go for it, because you see, the beauty about film is that it's in the idea. It's in the idea, it's in the execution, right? So what film does is it gives you perspective on the execution, but there's some people that have gone to film school, but they're not good filmmakers, because maybe their ideas are not great enough. So maybe they just become part of crew, and that sort of. Whereas for me, I then became idea, execution. I then had a
Right.
full 360 view of the whole thing, simply because I was trailblazing through the whole thing. You get what I mean? So some people, if you want to specialize, yeah, by all means, you can go to. I see the importance of film school. I'm not saying that it's not important,
Right.
but it's not everything, and you can be a very good filmmaker without going to film school. And either way, I mean, Tarantino says this all the time: the best film school you can ever do
just
is watching
from a constructive lens to say, okay,
yeah,
let's try and break this thing down.
Yeah, just watch film. Yeah, just watch as many films as you can. And Tarantino, he always says this. He says that, look, you can go to any film school, but he learned from just literally reviewing films and watching them, seeing the characters, and dissecting. Oh, this character shouldn't have done that. Oh, this character shouldn't have done that. Oh my goodness, and then before you know it, you've got a 360 view on film. You can see that. Oh wow, they shouldn't have taken it that way. They should have done that. Oh man, she shouldn't have died. She shouldn't have died. She should have stayed on. You're already picking up things.
Two things I'm hearing.
So that's what's up. Yeah.
The football, film, all two completely different things. But where we come from, these two crafts haven't been industrialized in a way, or rather commercialized in a way where a large mass of people can make an income off, right? So what is it that then, compelled you to say, okay, you know what, I've done this business degree and it's great, but I'm actually going to then try and chart away into film school. I know, of course, Pastor Tom gave you that nudge, but what are the tangible steps look like to almost lead into that?
Tangible steps, right? Tangible steps. So my tangible steps were right. Where did I start? So I finished my degree, right? After finishing my degree, I was now I had a decision whether to stay in Zim, stay in the UK, or go back to Zim. So I then decided to go back. Right now you have to understand, because everyone always asks me in this period, like, why?
Right.
Why would you go back? And blah blah blah. You have to look at it in context. At that time, this was 2010, right? I think post to 2000, post 2000, this is possibly the best period that Zim had ever actually been. So Zim had
it just
10
picked
years
up
of,
like significantly,
struggle, all that stuff.
Yeah,
but 2010, 2010, a lot was going on. There was
and so on.
Zim was a new government had come into place. There were new things that were going on. And I thought I had a place to play in that. I genuinely thought, okay, cool. There's definitely something that there's definitely a role I can play in that, in picturing that narrative, in pointing out, a new fledged Zimbabwe, and that sort of thing. So yeah, there was the GNU that was there.
mm,
So when we came
mm.
home, there was money in the streets.
Yeah.
People would get money
Functional.
off the ATM, and just things that
Mm.
normally people, yeah,
Mm.
just functioning, proper functioning society. So when I got back home, that's how I then just started, putting fillers around. I actually started doing photography because I
You had
used to
never
love
shot a film
capturing
before at this
moments.
stage. You had a design,
And
but
I
you
was
had never
capturing.
shot a film before.
I no,
Wow.
never, never, never. So at this
Mm.
stage, I had never shot a film, and I just started doing photography. Before I know it, I'm doing photography. I mean, I did
Mm.
the Haifa. There was a time when I did Haifa. Some
Mm.
of the Haifa highlights. I was one of their photographers.
Mm.
This was just after, dude. Like literally,
Mm.
just purely because I have a
Yes.
passion for this
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
people
Right.
just hear,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
there's this guy called Blessing, blah blah blah. Yeah, he's trying to do this, and I'd meet people, people along the way.
Mm.
The Fungais, Fungai Zimbabwean,
Mm. Mm. Mm.
like, no, Mfana, come
Mm.
through,
Mm.
help us out, blah, blah, blah. Fungai was very helpful. And I also mastered what he was doing. I'd watch what he was doing. I'd watch where he was going with it. Like, okay, cool. That's how I then landed Zim Fashion Week, I think 2011 or something.
So
I
this is
was
just
their
happening.
main photographer. And then by then, yeah, all these things, I even, and I've never
Getting the
disclosed
first
this.
scoop.
So Dumi, you're getting first exclusive, bro. First exclusive, my brother. I was invited. I was invited by the then, first lady to go and shoot at orphanage in Mazoe. And that was very private, a very private shoot that happened there, and it was amazing, just to be in the presence of power, right? Like I was,
I had not
like I was thinking, damn, like a year ago, I had no idea. I had no idea, and here I am. I'm shooting pictures, and I'm like sitting, I'm dining at the table with and then the Bible. I'm dining at the table with the first lady. The Bible talks about this, your gift will make room for you before kings, right? So this was it. Like literally, I was right there, dude. Like right there in the crux of of power.
Right.
What modern day kings would there be? And the president was supposed to come and all that stuff, but he ended up not coming. But still, it was just an event to save her. So yeah, so then. That's when I then decided that, look, man, you really need to, there's something that's going on here. There's a trend. So I was picking up clients. And I just decided that, look, maybe you need to actually get into fully fledged film, And I looked around, who's doing film? Very few people were doing it, And if I can really remember, Joe Njagu at that time had just come up with Lobola, right? And that was a film that was people that many people were talking about and stuff like that. And I said,
Making waves.
Yeah, this guy is doing interesting things. So I was like, you know what? I want to meet this guy, let's go and meet this guy, But before I could, I then met my partner, who's Charles, who's my partner now. Charles. So Charles is my thing, my partner in Invision Studios. Now he is so he went to a church with my sister, and my sister happened to talk to him that, you're into film. I know my brother's into film. He's fresh out the U. Well, 1 year, 2 years from the UK.
Wow.
So might as well. I think you guys would make great conversation. And then my sister, and then one day Charles just came to my gate. It's like, okay, cool. I'll come through, meet it.
Yeah,
dude.
Cool.
What was supposed to be like a hi, what's up? How you doing? And dude, he left at like 1 a.m., bro. Like he left 1 a.m. We were still talking, and we were still talking about film, and even the time, because I was not thinking, dude, it's getting late. We need to go home.
Okay,
because we would have carried on. I mean, I told him where the vision I had, and funny enough, most of the things that we spoke about that day are things that we are currently doing right now. you know, and it's weird because we spoke about the things that we wanted to do in the film industry, and what was lacking. You know, what was lacking was this alternative story. You know, so this alternative creative side of things where, you know, it's not full on, you know, Zimbarized, you know, by, the
Right.
normal tainted
Right.
picture
Right.
that's always given about.
Right.
It's not full on that, but it's not also full on Hollywood. But it's just a authentic story from a Zimbabwean's perspective, from an African's perspective, of just film. You know, like film from an African's lens. So we spoke about that and what that meant for each of us. You know, and for me, what it meant for me, you know, and some of the things I had written down at that time, you know, I always look back
Right.
and I see these things,
And they
I'm
show up.
just
You
like,
said,
wow,
wow.
yeah. You know, most of them. The only thing that we're probably not doing there, well, from what I had written myself as well, is radio. So that was one of the things I put there. That was going to be, you know, that I thought would take over is radio. But yeah. So that's what happened.
So
So that's how I met Charles. That's how I met Charles, who then introduced me to Denise, who's also part of Invision Studios, and you know, and Denise was Charles's friend, and they were already in the process of making a film called Fields of Gold, which was the first feature film that we actually made together, and this was in 2012. The film was set to be, you know, it was said to be so many things. But we lost the film. The film was stolen basically, and we hadn't backed it up. So the film was stolen, and before we know it, like we didn't have the film. I mean, Oliver Mtukudzi was supposed to do a soundtrack. Oh, he wanted to do a soundtrack with Salif Keita. Can you imagine? He was like, "Yeah, I'll call my friend
hit
for
record.
this," you know.
Hit. It's like
You
a
know,
Nigeria
dude.
part 2. You know what I mean? Like, you know.
It
But
was crazy.
I read somewhere that
Yeah.
moment inspired you guys to say, you know what? Let's consolidate all of this energy and ideas that we have into a real, tangible thing. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. So until then, we were not anything. We were just an outfit, right?
Mm, mm,
we were just a collective of individuals that were
mm,
trying to make films.
mm,
And then, you know, that process literally almost broke us up. Like literally, all of us were like, you know what? I'm gonna go do my own thing.
mm,
I was doing just fine, you know.
mm,
I was doing my things,
mm,
like I was doing my photography.
mm,
I was okay, you know.
mm, mm,
But in that moment, that's when I realized that, look, maybe there's something here if we just don't quit.
mm,
You know,
mm,
something here if we actually stay the course, stay the distance.
mm,
Because if we quit now, there's nothing that's gonna be to savor after this. Like
mm,
this is it.
mm,
So that's when we decided that, look, guys, maybe let's form something that's actually a proper company, and let's put structures. Let's put our vision. Let's put our phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, up until phase 5, of where we want to go over the next 25 years.
mm,
You know,
mm.
and these are things that we've put in. You know, I think we're halfway in somewhere. You know, we haven't reached the phase 5 phase because that's now something even way bigger than all of us.
um,
So,
the name Envision. I was doing my research. I was doing my research, looking at all of these things, and then of course the first thing I did was like Google Envision definition, and one of the things
yeah,
was the ability to imagine what can be possible. That was, if to paraphrase it very loosely, that's what Google
yeah,
was saying. What compelled you
yeah.
guys to choose the name Envision?
You know, the thing at that time for us, it was to dream the impossible.
Mm,
So it was literally to dream the impossible, and even the films, the stories that we were doing at that time, um, and not even at that time, we're still trying to maintain it. You
mm,
know, although we've gone more commercial,
mm,
we've gone a bit more commercial with it. But it was always, every project, it's sort of like a signature of what we do. There's always an element of dreaming the impossible. You've got, for example, you've got $1,000 and you want to make a TV show, TV series, right? you you want to call all the people in the country, the biggest people, job praises, your whatever, and you've only got $1,000 and you want to make a TV show. So that's part of that envisioning. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, no, it's no, that's not circumstantial. Right. That's no, but like I said, man, the actual the actual thing is that we always wanted to dream the impossible, and anytime we felt like a story wasn't challenging us, it would always be like, oh, guys, why are we making this story? Like, why are we doing this? So there's always this element of like, let's envision something bigger. Let's envision something greater. Let's go for, let's dream the impossible. Let's stretch our imagination. Because we grew up watching Hollywood. We grew up watching some of the things on TV.
Absolutely.
Hollywood, Chris Nolan, Quentin Tarantino, and these are people that influenced what we called film. And our school. This was our school. Some people are schooled in film school, but we were schooled in the school of watching.
Right. Right.
So yeah.
And I'm gonna now. I want to in the next, after I ask you, I'm gonna focus on the industry, but before I do that, as I was saying in the beginning, really in many ways, I actually read a dissertation a couple of months ago about the Zimbabwean film industry and the various different iterations that has taken shape over the past few decades, and it's almost been like a crawling stop-start effort this entity that is trying to become and be the fullest version of itself. In charting your guys' own path, what has been the lowest point and what has been the highest point to date?
Oh man, the lowest point. The lowest point, I think, for us was when we realized that we are affected by geographical
economics.
Geographical economics. Just by virtue of being in a Zimbabwean setting, your film could be knocked off maybe a good 20,000, 30,000, maybe sometimes 50 grand. Just by virtue of you being, is it a Zimbabwean film or is it a South African?
Right. The price tag is like, oh, cool.
Yeah. Price tags and the optics are different. Just by virtue of, is it a Zimbabwean film or it's a something else, maybe film, maybe a Nigerian film, so by virtue of that, this is that realization for me has been something that's been hard to grapple with because I'm very patriotic about my country, right? And you'd want to try and mitigate that as much as you can. So which is what we're doing now, which is where we're now having to, mix cast, mix things up with different countries, and see the these are some of the solutions that will come up in what you're going to ask later on. But these are the things that people have to bear in mind, when they're making that just because you've made a film in Zim, it doesn't mean that film is commercially going to
hit,
bring dividends. It might not bring anything back to you. So these are hard lessons. The highest point so far for us, I think the highest point for us has been, seeing people appreciate our work, you know, especially just random strangers just coming to us, you know. A lot of MSU students come to us.
Yeah.
You know,
They're making great
a lot
work, by
of
the way. But yeah, they're making great.
thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to me. A lot of MSU students come to us. A lot of, you know, some University of Zim students come to us and just give us heads up, like, yo, you guys are doing amazing things. You're influencing me to want to get into film. You know, some of the people have never met me personally, but they've seen the work that I've done, you know, or they've never met us personally as Invision, but they've seen the work that we've done, you know. So it's those are some of the things that really and truly, you know, when you think about it, you look back and you say, okay, you know, that wasn't so bad after all. And we had this project called In Short, you know, and this was soon after this whole debacle with our feature film being lost and stuff. Yeah, we had this project called In Short, and basically what In Short was a film project where we would take first-time filmmakers that had never made a film before, you know, and would sort of get them into like a boot camp where they get the chance to either direct their own film or be a first-time actor in a new film, in a short film. We had to make them short because budget-wise, we wouldn't have been able to sustain it, right? So but this was crazy. This was a crazy education for me. Like, it was ridiculous. Like, you know, you had to make from the script stage, right? The script had to be very precise, very concise, maybe 2-3 locations. You don't go overboard with locations. You don't go crazy with things like, you know, editing, VFX and whatnot. So the story has to be so tight. It has to be so gripping, and it has to be shot in such a way that it's going to be as entertaining as someone who's shooting something in the UK or someone who's got a big budget, you know, like massive budget. So we were doing these films on just nothing, like literally, do we have a story, guys?
Just desire.
Do we have
on desire. Just on desire alone.
Purely,
and that's it.
Purely desire, bro.
Yeah.
And at that time, it was good. At that time, it was really good because we, you know, we didn't have a family. You know, we didn't have family. Like, we didn't have responsibilities, so we were very at that time. So it was good boot camp for us, you know. But as you move further, as you get older,
responsibilities become right.
Okay, yeah, we need to commercialize this. And lucky enough, for some reason, you know, when you do something good, something always comes back, right? You know, like, I believe in that. You know, when you do good, you know, nothing just goes unwatched. You know, no good deed goes unnoticed. So the EU came on board and they started helping us. We got a bit of the Australian embassy started helping us, assisting us with this film project because it was helping people. You know, people were, and these films were being showcased to people at the Book Cafe at that time. What was called the Book Cafe. Some people might never know what this is. Might be too old school for them. But
I remember Book Cafe. I remember Book Cafe.
There was this place called the Book Cafe. Yeah, you remember it. Yeah. So that place, you know, that's where we used to showcase most of these films, and people used to come. They used to watch. People, you know, we used to invite the ambassadors. We invited the minister then, Super. You know, it was the thing. We made a big thing out of it. You know what I mean? The whole idea was to always make a big thing out of it. So. Yeah, man. And then from there, we then progressed to TV. And then from TV, we started, you know, we got back to film, and we started doing films again. And here we are.
Huge. So now we're now in this is now where we want to dig deep a little bit here, which is now, how can I even start this?
Before you start.
Yes.
Before you start.
Yes.
Another point. One of the best moments. Okay. I think I'd forgotten this one. Meeting Strive Masiwa.
Huge.
Huge. Yeah. So I was pitching Dragon's Den. I was pitching Dragon's Den to Kwese. At that time, we'd got the license from Sony, Sony in the UK to produce Dragon's Den in Zimbabwe, which was going to be the third Dragon's Den.
After UK and South Africa.
Yeah, after Africa in Africa. So after at that time it was Nigeria and South Africa. So it was going to be the third one, in Africa. So it was going to be massive. It was going to be good for the country, our entrepreneurs, and all that stuff. So I was pitching that and blah blah blah, and then before I know it, I'm pitching to the team, the Questa team. And before we came, my friend had actually said, like, dude, what are the odds if Strive actually comes through? Like, when your friend just said, I was like, nah, man, come on, Strive can't be here. Like, he's probably in a meeting with George Bush or Bill Clinton or something.
Bill Gates or something.
Come on,
Bill Gates or something like that.
Or Bill Gates. Right. Not here, not in a meeting with Blessing. So before I know it, I'm pitching, we're laughing, we're enjoying ourselves, and then this guy just opens the door and he's like, "Who is this young man speaking?" I was like, "No." I couldn't believe it.
Like, this camera.
I could not believe it.
Wow.
I could not believe it. I was so, I've never been starstruck, but so starstruck. Maybe it was an element of surprise that I really did not expect it.
Right.
But I remember him saying that you're in good hands and you're fine, and I was just like, oh, okay. and then after the crew, the people I was talking, the people I was pitching to, they had to say, "Blessing, just take a moment, breathe." Because I'd lost my mom. Yeah, they could tell, like, this young man. Come on, he's Strive is they're people that mentor you without knowing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Right. They're people that you watch without knowing. And people say a lot about Strive. People say bad things about Strive. Hey, each to their own. But I like to see the sort of good and the breaking barriers, because there are very few people that are doing what he's doing
on that level
and on that level. So some things for me, you're either doing something right, you're speaking right, you're affirming yourself right, because I know what it takes to even push yourself to get into conversations with people, certain people that could be influential. I know what that takes. It takes a certain level of faith, takes a certain level of intellect, a certain level of,
just believe it, like, I'm worthy of having this conversation. Just like,
dude,
some people believe they're not even worthy. It's like, no, I want to talk to you. Yeah,
I am. Like I am worthy of having that conversation. So it takes that tenacity, it takes that drive and that charm. There's so much charm that goes into business. There's so much charm and management of projects and things like that and blah blah blah. For someone to go for, I don't know how long Econet has been running for, maybe 15, 20 years. Right. Being the largest taxpayer in the country for that long. You must be doing something right. You must, like there must be something that's still, that's still, of course, the service could be better, blah, blah, blah. Those are semantics for me, as someone who's young, who's learning and observing.
It's not easy. It's not easy.
It's not easy. So people always think of it from this lens of, this guy's bad, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I get it. But, it's not easy. You try first, and then you say, to provide high levels of delivery.
But you mentioned something. You mentioned something earlier, which was, I think, how I'm going to transition into this. And first, before I go, I just jump over that. It's a huge moment. I think, of course, any young person that wants to do something in business cannot go without being thankful for the way that he has paved, for other people to follow, like not even like on a global level, on a real global level. So I think for any of us, that would have been like, that's a huge moment, right? What I'm hoping for, what I'm really hoping that happens is a future where there can be many of him as opposed to just one.
Him.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there should be many more. But you mentioned something. Yeah. We talked about how you'd often take UZ students or MSU students. I heard that. I remember I had a conversation with another friend of ours called Kuda, and he was talking about how we spoke of the internet series Wadiwa Wepamoyo from those MSU from the College Central team.
College Central, yeah.
I loved the show, season 1, everything, and he was telling me, I was like, here's, maybe he's gonna kill me after this. He's like, that show, because of the structure of the film industry, with the way in which it will die a painful death. Then I said, not because of talent or anything, but because of...
Sorry, he said what will die a painful death?
The show will die a painful death.
Yeah.
We all love the show. He loves the show, not because...
Yeah.
So because as soon as we were asking for donations, like if you look on the show, it'll be, please donate. It's like, as soon as we're there now, like it's just know the deck is sinking, and not because the content is not good, but because of the structures within the industry. So my question to you is, as a person in the industry, right? We want an environment, or want to envision an environment where there can be a really, commercially viable industry where people can actually dream of being actors, film producers, directors. But of course, it has to make commercial sense. What is hindering Zimbabwe? And I think that's one. Two, we're living in an age now where streaming is booming, right? Before it was just conventional state broadcasting, which was maybe limiting growth. But now we've got global streaming booming. And for the first time, there's actual real taste and demand for African content. What do you think it will make it necessary to actually commercialize this industry in Zimbabwe in the future, to make real commercial hits in a way that people can make a real living out of this and make also real money as film investors? What are the problems? How do we fix this thing going forward?
What are the problems? Okay. So the problems start from a grassroots level.
Right.
They start from a grassroots level, and where you, again, where that's it starts from a grassroots level. At that level where a film student has come from wherever they've come from, or not even a film student, or anyone who's aspiring to be a filmmaker,
right?
They're coming from wherever they're coming from. So you do your first one, maybe your first season of whatever it is. Right? It's a hit. People love it. People are buzzing. People are whatever. You're hot in the streets. You're trending.
Talk of the town. Right, the whole thing. Right.
Yeah, the talk of the town, right? And I always say this to even to the team, and when we speak and stuff, and just like, guys, trending is not. It doesn't amount to money sometimes. You have to go beyond the trending. You have to have something that is sort of timeless, and that goes beyond the trending. This is you as an individual, right? And you have to now envision yourself in a world where you are cushioning yourself from the blocks that surround you. So I'm gonna speak of this from a individual individual level. And then speak about this from the industry level, right? So from an individual level, you yourself, you have to envision a story or a film, a project, whatever it is, whatever you want to then make, make sure that you have thought about the whole process, of how am I going to commercialize this? How am I going to move this in this direction? How am I going to go in this direction? How are we going to plug in this? Can you plug in some whatever, whatever commercial nyaradzo? Can we plug in? Or can we? How can we get people involved? How can we whatever? This is from an individual. Yeah, no one is asking you to do this, because you can have as much preparation, or at the same time you could just be very passionate,
right?
And do it,
right?
Yeah,
right.
You could do that.
Yeah.
You could be stupid about it and just go about and just do it. Yeah, just go the Nike way, just do it. You know what I mean? Like, yes, I'm just gonna do it. You know, or you could really just have to stop, think, put cushions around yourself. Put cushions around yourself. Protect your downside. Always protecting your downside. Always protecting your downside. Thinking of that. Thinking of that, guys. How are we gonna make money? How continuously asking that to everyone who's involved in the project, the producers, all those guys. As you are, as young as you are, the four of you guys, how are we gonna make money? You could be a young 22-year-old, young 21-year-old in uni, whatever. Whoever you are, you have to think about that. How am I gonna make money with this thing? Because I promise, trends alone cannot sustain it. You could trend for 5 days, people forget. Someone will come up with something. There'll be a wedding somewhere where people are wearing green, and that's the end of you. Do you know what I mean? That's the end of you. Like, people are just wearing green wedding, and then you've got your thing that you're launching launched a day ago, and some Nigerians come into Zim, they take over the whole show. You're forgotten. Zim Celebs jumps on that, and they jump on that, and that's it. That's you. Your story is gone. So you have to continuously, your project has to be, it could trend for a little bit. People talk about it, but you've got your objective of, okay, we're going to make money here. This is where we are going to make money. You focus on that. Continuously keep your eyes on the money. This is from an individual perspective. Now, from the industry perspective now, there are a few captains, right? In every industry, there are a few captains. Sure. So there are a few captains that sort of chart the industry. How this thing is supposed to be structured? It's supposed to be structured in what I would call maybe a fivefold. Fivefold. I don't know what to call it. Fivefold pillar, maybe fivefold pillars. Where you've got the first pillar is the actual film, the actual film industry, which is the people. This is your crew. This is your what. This is your directors, what the humans,
the whole thing. Right?
Yeah, the actors, all that, right? And then you've got the ministry. The ministry plays a major role in all this.
Right.
The Ministry of Arts, the Ministry of Arts and Culture, they play a major role in all this. But why? Because they dictate policy. Why? Because they dictate conversation, and they stimulate conversation with other countries. They could stimulate conversations with other countries that could lead to investment flow. Do you get what I mean? And then there's also the third one is societies, or organizations, right? And these are like your National Arts Council,
right?
National Art Council, National Art Gallery, national. All these guys, and then you've got the commercial side, which is maybe the private sector,
right?
Which is the banks,
right?
Which is
the private investors, whatnot.
The private investors, the mbingas, all the mbingas in there, will pull them in there. So maybe a fourfold ministry. What needs to happen is these four people, right, need to understand that there is capital here with the asset base of the Zimbabwean story. The Zimbabwean story is an asset in itself, right?
Love it.
They need to realize that all these people, they need to realize that, okay, there's an asset here that we've got, and that's the Zimbabwean story. What is the Zimbabwean story? Well, it's so many things. There's so many stories that are a collective of what someone could call the Zimbabwean story. So there's so many stories. We've got we've got we've got so many. Loads. So many stories, and we need to see those stories as assets. Until we just see that as a story, a story,
right?
And that's it. No one is actually going to start making that active. You will have the filmmakers which is what we have now. Everyone is sort of in their silos, right? Everyone is sort of in their silos because the filmmakers are just trying to make themselves just continue charting their own path. The guys who sort of dictate policy, they sometimes here and there go and say, "Hi guys, how can we help? We're holding a meeting, we're holding a what." They don't care. because again, they don't see the asset, they don't see the importance of it, you know. But if hunger, you know, if there was a hunger and the Zimbabwean story depended on it, people would then be forced to actually come to that place where they're like, you know what, you know, if there was, if it was a life and death situation, do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
People would then be forced to come to a place where they realize, okay, we all need to meddle and make this thing work. We all need to meddle and make this thing work. Because again, like I said to you, you know, people trend. People
Right.
make things that trend, you know, and you get 1 million views on YouTube, you know, do you know how much that amounts to?
It's minuscule from streaming revenues on me. It's a lot. Here's my thing. The one thing I'm missing. So maybe back when I was in Zim a few years ago, I used to run a small factory. So maybe I'm trying to just use an analogy so I can contextualize this for maybe people listening. So maybe on like a business sense, let's say I have an Invision Studios factory. My factory is Invision Studios. And I have all of these various films on my slate that I'm thinking, what story should I go with? And I'm like, okay, this is the one that I choose. This film that I choose, for argument's sake, costs $100,000. Let's just for argument's sake, or 10,000, but let's say 100,000. So it's around a nice round number. We have all of these 4 people, of course, you know, that I can help bring together to, you know, to mix and help, of course, raise the money and the capital, the human resource, and all of the things, right? But the one thing I'm missing, though, so I can get the actors, I can write the screenplay, get the actors in place, you know, get that sorted. Then I can try, of course, in the middle, talk to culture or arts and what have you, see if I have any traction. But then, of course, let's say I'm very successful on the private investor side. I get some banks that say, okay, we'll do a debt facility of 60% for 60,000. And then we have, let's say, private equity or private investor that will say, okay, we'll invest 40,000 in this because we believe in this vision, for argument's sake, right? The piece I'm missing, or maybe you tell me what it's like in your experience, is on the distribution side. Now we've raised the money, we've got the actors together, we've put it all together. Now I have to sell this product from 100,000 to and see how I can make money off it on the long term. Are we winning on the distribution side, or do we have to be more innovative now with how we, of course, liquidate or make profit off that, you know, off that total project cost or that movie? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, you know, film is tricky, right? Film is very tricky in the sense that, you know, just because you've got a good story doesn't mean that you're going to sell big. Do you get what I mean? So there are a lot of variables with film, right? With film, it's sometimes who's directing it, sometimes who's in it, you know. Sometimes the director can sell the film alone. Like sometimes, you know, if I bring Michael Bay to Zimbabwe, right? If I bring Michael Bay to Zimbabwe, Michael Bay is still Michael Bay, regardless of which country he's going to go to. Whether it's Zimbabwe or it's Sudan, his name is the asset, right? So already, people might actually start bidding. There could be a bidding war just by. If it just happens to leak that Blessing Chinanga, right, a producer from Zimbabwe, is bringing Michael Bay to shoot a story, a mythic story about ancient Tapa state, right? My guy,
the numbers,
there could be a bidding war from Warner Bros, from whoever, just by virtue of, okay, this guy is directing. What's the story like? Who's you know, there could be a hot, and then there's also cast. You know, cast could be part of it. I bring Viola Davis. I'm like, oh yeah, Denzel Washington and Viola Davis are acting as Nelton and you know, people are like, I don't know about the accent. I don't know how they're gonna do that.
We know Viola Davis. I want to see that, right?
We want to watch that. You know, already the value of that has moved from maybe, you know, if I was to take a Zim actor, maybe from the thousands to the millions, you know. So there are a lot of variables that affect the distribution.
Right.
But before you get to the distribution, you need to first be organized so much, you know, so that you cushion yourself by the time you get to the distribution.
Even if no one buys, if no one's buying, I've still broken even. I've still broken even.
You've broken even, and you've cushioned yourself in the sense that, you've protected the downside somehow, you know, which is what needs to happen. So structures need to be put in place from a ministerial position. You know, the ministry in South Africa, when people are addressing the entertainment, the entertainment and arts and industry, it's an industry. You know, they are addressed as an industry. In Zimbabwe, it's just a collective of individuals.
The collective.
You know, yeah. And you know, in Nigeria, it's like the same issue. You know, they're very, they've seen how this thing, the youth needs to be active. The youth need to do something. You know, they need something that keeps them busy. Okay, let's just invest in this film industry. Let's invest as much as we can in this film industry. So they've taken that approach. Kenya's going in that direction. You know, they're going in that direction where the government is very focused on putting structures in place, because I promise you, filmmaking it can actually be a big employer in the country.
Yeah,
it could actually be one of the biggest employers in the country. Because we could have so many film projects that are going all over the place, and could be fed to all over the world. You know, all over the world, if we do our things right. So from a ministerial position, there needs to be policies. There has to be there's red tape around our country, so we have to be clever about what we do. You know, we could even sell we could sell Victoria Falls for as a you know, as a marketing gimmick. You know, come and shoot at the Vic Falls. You know, come and, you know, like there could be so much that could go around Vic Falls that could actually be a strong selling point for the film industry. For the ministry itself, not the film industry, but for the ministry, you know, which would then affect the film industry, yes. But from the ministerial perspective, the ministry itself could become so sustainable and self-sufficient, such that, you know, it's not wanting money from the fiscus. You know,
because it has
when
own income coming from other things.
It's actually pouring into the fiscus. It's actually saying, look, we're making surplus here. Here's some money for the country for you to distribute. You know what I mean? Because we're making so much money. We've got surplus. We've got 10 film studios that are going to shoot in Vic Falls. You know, and it's going to be a big thing. So this stuff comes with intention. It comes with recognizing your worth. It comes with, you know, putting policies in place, dude, and it comes with so much vision. I'm sorry to say, like, it comes with so much vision. Like, you need to be able to envision things in a different way and not be meddled by the day-to-day politics that always affect things.
How about private people like myself? Like, let's say if I see a pitch deck of this idea, it's requiring 10,000. Have you guys found that Zimbabweans outside of, you know, let's say ministry on a ministerial level are invested or are aware rather of the asset base of Zimbabwean stories, in the sense that, wow, I can actually, if I, obviously not every movie hits, we know that, right? But are Zimbabweans actually aware that the Zimbabwean story is an asset base in and of itself, you know, in monetary terms?
I think it's an education that's currently ongoing.
Right.
Again, like I say, we've got the Mbinga culture, the Mbingas that are coming up. So they have started helping a lot of people on. You know, I see a few things on YouTube here and there. You know, where I can tell that, okay, this Mbinga's putting some sheets, this Mbinga's doing this. But, you know, it needs to be structured to and geared towards commercial viability, you know, towards making millions. You know, I honestly think right now we're just scraping through to my 500, to my 200, to my 2,000, something.
Yes.
You know, like, you know, no pay 2,000. That's good. No. It needs to be like, okay, guys.
Right.
You know, we're gonna give you 10K.
It needs to be industrial.
Yeah, let's move this towards some sort of commercial. What are we looking at? You know, and potentially, this I don't know. It potentially could also be because of the lack of mentors, lack of mentors that actually know the entertainment industry. I was listening to Tich Mataz before this, and he played a major role in my life, and more than
Right.
most of us, because this guy he was a millionaire at 25, and I'm talking US dollar millionaire, at 25 in the entertainment industry. So he was making so much money, he was making so much money, and but the way he did it, it's his mind, and even just listening to him now, I was like, this guy, he could really be a minister
And
of,
as it was, yeah.
yeah, like either it could be a minister, or he could be like, we always go for the minister, but he could be one of the people, these like I said, the captains of the industry, because you need those people that have done it. They've met Michael Jackson.
Right. You black, yeah.
I know, like they've met the people at that level. So conversation and that sort of charm, that sort of zeal, that sort of knowledge needs to now be passed on, or it needs to be incorporated in what all of us are doing. All the young guys coming up, all these Wadiwa guys, and Adabi and all these guys, these they now need that next level. Like, yo, bro, you're doing this, but let's take you in this direction, because what most of these guys are having to do, they're charting
their own territory, and they shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have to do that.
Like we did. Like we are just,
you guys
we just
go.
go.
Yeah.
We just just trailblazing,
Right.
and learning along the way, and things that someone could have just said, look, you're doing this, you could do it, you're doing this in 10 years, but in 5 years you could have done it. You could do this, A, B, C, D. You guys need to structure yourselves this way. Information. So again, going to the banks, going to the banks and the private sector. The banks are not, they're not exempt from this problem. I honestly think the banks are very much a part of the problem as well. It's a shame, but it's true. Because they look, they just look. They are watching. They're sitting on large balances of money. They're sitting on large balances of money, and they would rather invest in potentially property, more safer investments than actually taking a risk and just helping this industry or this collective. Old Mutual, to be fair to them, they're trying, because they've tried to mix it up. They've tried to help artists to have books, to have knowledge on their own management of their books and things like that. They do workshops here and there, but I think more can be done. More can be done. Like, because Zim is so rough that you could have one person in a year's time, that person, you could find them boots, and you're wondering, how did that guy get there? How did that guy get there? And this is a story. A lot of people, and Atimina Bonzo, these guys died with nothing. Some of them, they just, most of the artists that actually, back in the day, they just ended up dying with nothing. And this comes from an intention of, okay, how are we helping the artists? How are we helping the artists to preserve their money whenever they're making the little money that they're making? How can we escalate and actually make this a thriving industry? And South Africa has realized this a lot. So they're pouring a lot of money into it. There's probably a lot of debt that goes into that industry. A lot of debt that goes into that industry. But then there's also stuff that comes back. So it's like it pours in,
but it comes back, out.
It pours in. Yeah, maybe what might be coming back might not be as much. Now. But once the world starts to take notice of, I honestly think there's something happening in Zimbabwe. These little Zimbabwean films, I'm seeing them. The quality is just like, there's something about them. Okay, these, before you know it.
Yeah, I agree. having lived in South Africa as well, you just realize that culture travels. Like as I'm speaking from the US now.
Yeah.
I think today I was walking. There's this Nigerian artist called Thames that was playing. I was like, Thames is even
Oh, I
playing
love
here.
it.
Is Washington DC?
Yeah.
And I heard of that. I was walking again, another place, Thames. I'm like, wow. Like I remember when
Yeah.
I was a kid, like MTV Channel O and MTV Base were the only places would see Nigerian music, and it was. And then now they've invested so much in these industries that, of course, music has been like the initial cultural export. Then movies become,
Yeah.
and then I can now go on tour, and then it's industrialized. Do you see what I'm saying? Because they've
Done.
seen the value in their stories, like, and not just value in terms of like what makes you warm and fuzzy at night, monetary value, things that make people
Yeah.
rich. You see, um,
Yeah.
and that's what I hope we can do the same. So for you to kind of
Uh-huh.
like to kind of to bring it full circle,
Yeah.
what are you envisioning for the future? What are you not in terms of on your slate, but on a bigger
Yeah.
scale? But I feel like you guys are doing movies and you're almost like doing large volumes
Yeah.
of movie, which is great. But I feel like there's like an even higher cause that you guys are trying to plant
Yeah.
in the
Of course.
psyche of viewers. What is that higher cause you guys are trying to envision?
I mean, things. I envision a world where we're calling, Denzel Washington and just tell him that, look, can you come to Zim? We've
Mm,
got this film that we're shooting, and this is, this is the script,
hmm
you know, and it's not an issue. But largely, when I envision things in Zim in particular, I really would love to see this as a, young people when they're in high school,
mm,
they're really thinking, man, I want to be part of that.
mm,
I really want to be part of that. I want to
mm,
be excited to, I want to, not now with social media, potentially this is happening. Like young kids are seeing this, they're seeing Madam Boss, and they're like, oh
hmm
wow, I
mm,
want to be her. Like I really want to be her.
hmm
Type of thing. But
hmm
I'm talking about beyond that. I'm talking about being part of a feature film production and being the lead actress.
mm,
And you're 18 years old or you're 16 years old, and you're watching an actress on screen, a Zimbabwean film,
mm.
or a film produced by Zimbabweans, and you're just like, wow, I want to act like that, you
Right,
know, um,
right.
and you've got that burning fire. So potentially for me, right now, I'm looking at bigger projects, bigger scale and bigger budgets, but at the same time, starting the fire, in so many people, starting that fire in younger people, in the younger ones, to do it right, trendy not the trendy way, but to do the things right, to actually learn the business side of this industry,
Mm,
and to do things right. For me, that's what I feel the next chapter is all about.
mm,
I feel like it's all about teaching the younger ones the mistakes that we made, the things that we saw, the things that we did right, the things that we did wrong,
mm,
and potentially helping them to be faster, in their journey of success,
mm,
in their journey of something that we potentially exist in our passions, like film. What we all film lovers.
mm,
So
mm,
so yeah, I think for me, that's where I am. And us as Envision, we're thinking bigger, man. We're thinking international. More international interactions with other countries. Again, the bigger we are, the harder it's harder for them to say no. The bigger we are, it's harder for them to say no.
mm,
So the more we expand our influence, in terms of our projects, and how we cast our stories and things like that, how we place our stories, it's harder for people to
big-
say no to us.
right.
Yeah, no was Zimbabwe.
Got you.
Yeah.
And to end off, for everyone listening, how can we help? How can people help get behind the work that you guys are doing?
Wow. That's no one has ever actually asked that. How can we help you?
It's a good question. It's
Like,
like, because it sounds people are working,
yeah,
but as
like
people are like, I believe in the work, but like, how do I help? Does help look like watching? Does help look
yeah,
like investing? You might have a film. Does help look like, look, actually, I know someone that can help industrialize this thing. Maybe is it an introduction? What does help look like in a way that is useful?
those are good definitions of help. Actually,
Mm,
those are very good definitions of help that you put out there, do me. Like,
mm,
what does help look like for you?
mm,
But yeah, I think help for us is, watching what we've done,
mm,
appreciating the amount of work that's gone into it,
mm,
sharing when you can, liking the pages when you can, you
mm,
know, uh, but largely not just about us. I honestly think that how people, especially Zimbabweans, can help is by believing in the industry,
mm.
believing in the people that are making the stuff. If Joe has a film that's out, let's go behind him.
Right.
Let's become a force. Like, let's all just, if whichever producer out there has a new film. If Darby, has a new season of what you are and
Mm,
things like that. And I'm guilty of this. I honestly think that we all need to just start rallying behind each other.
mm,
Like, yo,
mm, mm, mm,
have you seen?
mm.
Have you
Have
just
you seen?
watched?
You need to.
Oh,
You need to
yeah.
go. Right.
You
Right.
need,
Right. Right.
you need to
Right.
go.
Right.
No, you need to go.
You need to
You need to.
support.
No, no, no. What are you doing now? Let's stop this thing and
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
go and watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, no, that's
Mm.
that's the level that we need to get to, because I've watched South Africans do that. Much as they,
They're right.
much as they,
Mm,
yeah, they
mm,
they they they, they get excited about their peers in the industry,
mm,
and they don't just hate on each other and stuff.
mm,
They get excited. They're like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna watch. And then they give an opinion. Sometimes they like it, sometimes they don't.
mm,
But they would have, like, really made conversation about it on Twitter. Just like what was happening with Wadiwa and
mm, mm,
and that
mm,
sort of thing. That needs to be replicated across everything.
mm,
Across everything. And yeah, man, I think how can people help is trying to speak to whoever's influential, speak to the powers that be, because there's something bigger here. Whoever knows someone, if you know a venture capitalist that can help escalate things, that can invest in film studios and Zim and things like that. Come and speak to the people that are doing it. Like, oh, you guys are doing this film. Okay, cool. Let's take this story.
mhm,
Let's move it to a $2 million budget.
mhm.
For me, it's not about money, but it's about the reach. It's
Reach.
about what money
Mm,
does to make you have the reach.
mm, mm.
Yeah. So that's my story, and I'm sticking.
Blessing. Thank you so much for the time, and thanks for shifting the Zimbabwe narrative for the better. We look forward to seeing, all the great things you keep on doing, and
Yeah.
this has been great. I've learned a lot, so thank you.
Thank No, Dumi, thank you so much. Like I said, for having me on board.
Mm,
It's a lovely honor, and not every day, do
mm,
filmmakers get called to do these kind of conversations,
mm,
in Zim. So
mm.
so again, how can we help? Yes, you can call us more so that we can talk about what we're struggling with, what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, all that kind of stuff, all the yada yada. But yeah, no, thank you very much to me, and I wish this platform all the great success, man. Again, it's one of the things that, let's follow this, and
Mm,
let's get behind it. You're one of the people, again, you're playing a role.
mm,
You're playing a role,
mm.
So yeah, man, thank you very much to me. I'm very honored to be here.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
All right, take care. Cheers.